Hi friends, welcome or welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my daughter's bedroom. I asked her if I could film in here because everywhere in the house was occupied by people and it is too hot to film outside. So I decided to come in here for a little while and film. I am going to be wrapping up my July reads. I'm going to try to keep this pretty short and sweet because my voice is still recovering from having pretty severe laryngitis at the end of July. And I had some great reads though. So first of all, I was so blessed to be able to reread Sensibility. It was a reread for me and a first time for them. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen for Jane Austen July with Old American Spirit and NadineBrandes book. We had such a sweet time of fellowship and talking until the end when I had to just type because I had lost my voice. But it was so lovely to reread this book. This has been always like one of my top Jane Austens. I would have said normally that it would tie for second. This was my third read through. So first being Persuasion for me because I can so relate to that character in so many ways. But rereading this time, I would say instead of tying for second place with Pride and Prejudice and Mansfield Park, okay, yes, I know I have a three-way tie for second, sue me. I would say that it actually is tying for first with Persuasion. And so we're in the story of some sisters and their mom who the father has died, and of course the son who had come from a different mom, so their half brother has inherited everything, and he is not really following through with his father's true wishes of making sure they were taken care of. So they're living off of a very modest income, and the older sister Eleanor, who is definitely the Sense and Sensibility, falls in love with her sister-in-law's brother, and the middle daughter, Marianne, who's next to oldest, falls in love with someone else, someone who should be inheriting a good amount of money on his own, hasn't really got much to his name. And we deal with how they deal with things. And the reason why now, like the age I am, why this resonated so much more with me is you just really understand the selflessness of the Eleanor character and how much she truly loves, sacrifices, does for her family. And I really love it. And just so you know, I do not hate Northanger Abbey or Emma, even though they're in last place. I think I just must be really self-centered because I don't relate to Catherine or Emma as much. So that's why I don't think I relate to them as much. Brief pause for a coughing fit. All right, next I had a buddy read with Chatty the Mad Chatter and BandanaBookmom for the next book, the third book in the Book Wanderer series. This was, in America, it's just The Map of Stories, and in the UK, it's Tilly and the Map of Stories. And there were things that I did really love about this book. So we've got a girl, she can book wander. It's a family thing. She has a friend that can book wander. You are introduced to amazing, wonderful storybook characters. And we are actually introduced to a real life writer in this book. And this particular writer was a very fun to have in the story. And that was my favorite part. And I hope that he comes in book 4. But just in general, this one fell short to me compared to the first two that I really, really loved. I will be continuing on with book 4, but it's going to be an audiobook. I'm not going to use my eyeballs because it will take longer, and I'm just going to have this be my laundry folding audiobook this month. Not saying that I hated book 3, it just didn't live up to the first two. All right, my daughter and I read Romanov by NadineBrandes together, and I love NadineBrandes. I will talk about it probably soon in an individual book review, but I recently was on her street team for the Nightmare Virus. I've really loved The Wistress by her, but Romanov is kind of like another book she wrote by Fox, and that we're combining historical fiction and fantasy together. So of course we're dealing with the Romanov family, and I really enjoyed this one. I thought she did a good job of paying homage to the historical side of things while bringing a unique fantasy element into it, having some romance without the romance completely taking over the story. Really enjoyed it and really enjoy what NadineBrandes writes just in general. And I just enjoy her as a person. I follow her on Instagram and I feel like we're just like-minded in our philosophies of, you know, motherhood, education, homeschooling, and stuff like that. So I really love her. And the first email she sent was for the book reveal for her Street Team for Nightmare Virus, and I wasn't getting the file, and that girl and we like emailed back and forth literally 10 times in one day, and she was prompt and polite and sweet with every email she sent. So please support NadineBrandes. She is a saint. All right, next, If I'm Being Honest by C.P. Cabaniss. Now, this is very exciting. This is my friend Courtney Reeds, who publishes C.P. Cabaniss. This is her third book in the Vows series, and I am not a big contemporary romance reader, and I know that I could be biased because she is my friend, but truly, these are the most enjoyable contemporary romances that I read. And I went in this thinking that I was not going to like it because we are introduced to this character in the previous book in the series. You can read these as standalones, but I think you'll appreciate it more if you read them in order. And that introduction to this character, I was disgusted with her. I did not like her at all. I was kind of like, are you in my brain, I was thinking, are you sure you want to feature this character in a book as a protagonist? And it was a fake dating trope, well, which is not my favorite. Oh my gosh, you guys, she managed to do it where the fake dating trope where it didn't end up being like you were completely lying to your family and friends. She did it so well. It ended up making sense why this girl was the way she was. And I like the way the character ended up owning her mistakes. So I really recommend clean romance. And yeah, it's definitely... Courtney describes it as Hallmark, but more realistic. And I think that is such a good way to describe her books. All right, next. We read, the kids and I, we listened to, because my voice went away, The Silver Chair and The Last Battle. So the next to last and the last book in the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe series. Of course, this was probably my third time through, kind of like Sensibility. It was 3 times the charm this month. The Silver Chair is not my favorite overall book in this fantasy series. Of course, we have Aslan, the mighty lion who represents the Lord. And, but the way the book ends, I think it's one of my favorite endings of the book. I just don't like the time with the giants, to be honest with you. If you haven't read it, you might like the giant part. Give it a try. But if you've read it, let me know. Do you like the giant part? I didn't like the giant part in that book so much. And then The Last Battle, it just rounds things out so well. And so much beauty, so much hope. So that is what I read in the month of July. I have several things that I kind of finished and that I'm taking this month and that I will talk about at another time. And I hope that you guys are having a great end to your summer, and I hope that you read a lot. Let me know what you enjoyed reading in July. Bye-bye.